magic, the cars, right? And it talks about summer, 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 you know. It's like twisting you under, sideways, down, all around, you know. And then, so, like a merry-go-round, right? So that's what we're headed into, the merry-go-round of May. It's twisting you all around, sideways. Your high heels with the cleats stuck in them, like I used to wear to run track back in the 80s. So, I offer for Joe and Del today. This is me at age 5. We had this fair in New England. It was actually every fall. It was called the Big E. But my parents took a picture of me here on the merry-go-round, which obviously I'm loving, and I'm holding on to like the maypole or whatever that, you know. So I thought, this is a good picture for today. Look at me. They got me dressed like Robin Hood. I got this belt. I look like Robin Hood. And this merry bunch of meanders, merry bunch of men or whatever. And see the horse. So what happened this day was I didn't want to get off the merry-go-round. So my parents took me, for a couple of rides. And then they said, oops, is my battery going low? They said, where's Leslie? They went on to the sheep, and I wasn't with them. So then they realized later I was back at the merry-go-round. I was having fun going around and around and around. I didn't want to come back. It's kind of like, it's kind of like summer, right? We go out of school. It's, we're going around and around. We get into summer, right? It's all over the place. We don't have any really routines, and well, kids today probably do, but we didn't have so much, and that's what was great about it. You could keep going around and up and down and all over the place. And you didn't have to get off, You didn't want to get off because you knew when you got off, it would be boring. And it would stop moving. Things would stop moving. And for me as a kid, when things stop moving, forget it. It's boring. So, you got to keep moving. Even if people don't like it, you got to do what you got to do. Of course, they were worried about me, and they announced, they announced my name and whatever. From their point of view, as a parent, it's extremely nerve-wracking to lose your child, especially at a state fair, but neither here nor there. So, I was watching the video, right, that I'm going to post the link down below, and some kid was saying, oh, my dad, he's 54. So this was 2 years ago, so he's my age now. He's like, oh, my dad is stuck in the 80s. Well, and he said, no, my dad says what a great time it was and how people, it was fun and you could say things, you could talk openly. And I want to shed some light on that today because I realized this is kind of my thing, And I thought I posted something on there, but I couldn't find it later. I went and looked for it, and maybe it was a Mercury thing. I don't know. Anyway, to those of us, I want to offer this perspective. To those of you listening, or maybe some of you listening may relate to this. To those of us who are teenagers, high school and college, and into our 20s in the 80s, it was a magical time. And because, that dog's been barking all day. Because whenever you're in your teens to your mid-20s, of course, which I was in the 80s, that's when you're formulating your values, your ideas about life, what life is like, the culture. You're You're absorbing it, right? So, what these kids, our kids have today, this will be their 80s, These are their teens and 20s these years. But for us, it was like a merry-go-round. You spin me right round. Okay. Anyway, and we didn't want it to end. And I totally get that. And, those older than us, they were in their 30s, maybe in the 80s. Or those younger, they weren't born yet, or they were little kids, So they got it from a different perspective. So I think the 80s were big, too much, over the top. And then the 90s came, and it kind of like everything sort of wound down and ended and started getting real, too real. And, like the movie Reality Bites, yeah, that's kind of how the 90s started to seem. Sort of silly at first, and, then just kind of like getting off the merry-go-round. And the fact that we as a generation were flexible was to our advantage, I think, as is this time, and our kids have also had to be mutable, flexible. Not expecting too much, because I always know that my dissatisfaction with life tends to rise with my unrealistic expectations. And usually it comes from something, me fixating on something outside of me that is not the natural world, that is more, a reflection of what's I've been carrying around inside of me that I need to, dispense with, get rid of. Unrealistic expectations, over the top 80s, optimism. But I offer this to you. The music was awesome. Over the top the culture was. Sure, there was a lot of excess compared to now. But at the time, 8 is the number of infinity, right? 8 is material abundance, sometimes too much. 8 is a good number if you're looking to make money, But sometimes those things don't last. Well, they never usually do last. And that too gets boring, Even material abundance gets to be too much at a certain point. So you need all of it. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You need, society needs our point of view. Or is ours the only one? No. But if I find myself alone in a group of, baby boomers and millennials, do I feel like the outsider? Sure. Do I start waxing nostalgic about times past? Sure. And it's mostly because I'm feeling alone and not, I want just a community of people who get it. Sometimes we all long for that. We want the way we felt back in the 80s. We want to be with, we want the freedom that we felt, the youthfulness, the youthful enthusiasm for life, our friends, people, who are now gone, to be alive again. We want that sense of hope, of purpose, of just innocence, the ability to create without, having to worry about the mortgage and the tuition and the cars and the kids and the house and the right? I suppose that's not new, but I think every generation redefines that phase of life. So maybe that's, you know, if I can offer my own philosophy, I say go with it. Kid, you gotta, if your dad likes listening to 80s music, then, you know, we, this is what I have to build. This, and that is awesome because it was some of the best music. And I might include some of the late 70s and early 90s music in there, because I personally like that little era. And what we need to do is find each other, find a community, like-minded souls with whom you can enjoy the music and tell your stories. And that is what I hope to build. That is what I am building. I kind of feel drawn to it, even if it's just a hobby. It kind of makes me smile. So I hope it makes you smile, too. My little stories, such as they are, and, we're starting to plant the garden, so I'll post pictures of that. And, yeah, it's going to be a fun, it's going to be a, what's that over there? Just saw something. There's something over there. Big bird or something. I don't know. Oh, maybe it's the heron. I think it's the heron. Oh, well, I'm going to go check it out. Anyway, hope you have a great week. Yeah, so there it might be a May go round. May you have a wonderful week, wonderful month, and may you experience the feelings, the nostalgia of your favorite time. May it uplift you and give you lots of energy. Till next week, Zazoo Plazz, signing out. Bye. Oh, and may you have magic